Today we're breaking down how Jed York, the principal owner and CEO of the San Francisco 49ers, actually got rich and stayed rich. Most people think easy, he was just born rich. His family already owned the 49ers, and that's not wrong, but it also misses how the real game is being played. How a third-generation heir turned one aging family asset into a multi-club, multi-billion-dollar sports empire, without ever doing a traditional startup or IPO. And buried inside that story is a playbook that any founder or operator can use, even if you weren't born into a billion-dollar mall fortune. Let's start at the beginning, but we'll move fast. Jed York doesn't start with nothing. His grandfather, Edward J. Bartolo Sr., built one of the biggest shopping mall empires in the United States. At one point, the DeBartolo company owned nearly a tenth of all mall space in the country. That's where the original money came from, developing malls, renting space to retailers, and eventually taking the portfolio public and merging into now what's known as Simon Property Group. In 1977, Jed's uncle took a big swing. He bought the San Francisco 49ers for all of $17 million, rolling the mall money into an NFL franchise that at the time, nobody knew would ever become a global media asset. Over the next 2 decades, the 49ers won 5 Super Bowls and became one of the crown jewels of the league. That single asset would end up compounding far more than most of the mall portfolio. Jed grows up inside that world. He goes to Notre Dame, studies finance and history, and does a short stint as a financial analyst in New York at Guggenheim Partners. And then his parents pull him into the family team, not as a mascot, but as a strategist. He starts in strategic planning, then vice president of strategic planning, and then by his late 20s, he's the CEO of the 49ers. He doesn't found a company the way you or I might think about it. His move is different. He becomes the operator of the family's most important asset. He's the one responsible for keeping that multi-billion-dollar machine winning games, printing media money, and staying relevant. Under Jed's watch, the 49ers built Levi Stadium, lock in long-term sponsorship and premium seating revenue, and eventually stabilized the football side with John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan. On the field, they go to multiple NFC championship games and a Super Bowl. Off the field, the team's valuation keeps climbing into the high single-digit billions. So how does that translate into his personal wealth? In 2024, Jed buys enough equity from his mother to become the principal owner of the 49ers. On paper, it looks like a title change from CEO to principal owner, but in reality, it's a massive wealth event. At valuations in the $7 to $9 billion range, shifting even a small additional percentage of equity into his column makes him a seriously rich man. But he doesn't stop there. Right after he consolidates control, the NFL finally opens the door to private equity and outside minority investors. Most owners just talk about it, but Jed actually executes. In 2025, the family sells a 6% slice of the team to 3 Bay Area families at a valuation north of $8.5 billion, bringing in roughly $500 million in cash. A few months later, they sell another 3.2% to Peter Bigger Jr., chairman of the Fortress Investment Group, again at that same sky-high valuation, raising another couple $100 million. Here's the important part. After those deals, the York family still owns about 88% of the 49ers. They didn't cash out, they just took some chips off the table at record high prices while keeping almost all the future upside. That's elite defense. At the same time, they're playing offense inside their circle of competence through 49ers enterprises. They buy into Leeds United in England and later Rangers in Scotland. Now, instead of one team, they have a multi-club portfolio spanning the NFL and global football. Same skill set, same negotiating leverage, but more shots on goal in more markets. So what's the critical wealth move here? Jed's real genius isn't inventing a new product or building an app. It's recognizing that his family already owned a structurally advantaged asset, an NFL franchise, and then doing 3 things. Number 1, becoming the operator, not just the heir. He spent years inside the building learning the economics, building relationships, and earning enough credibility to eventually take the principal owner title. Number 2, consolidating control before big liquidity options arrived. He bought more equity from his mother before the private equity wave hit, so when valuation spiked, he was the one holding the steering wheel. Then number 3, selling small slices at huge valuations instead of swinging for a risky exit. Offloading 6% here, 3% there, and at $8.5 to $9 billion valuations is very different from selling 100% of the team. It's liquidity while keeping control. So what can you learn from Jed York if you're not a billionaire's kid? Here's the playbook. On the getting rich side, attach yourself to structurally advantaged asset classes, something with built-in tailwinds like distribution, network effects, or media rights. Then be the person who actually makes the asset work. Be an operator, the rainmaker, or the capital allocator, not just an employee. Then think in equity, not salary. Jed's promotion wasn't just CEO, it was buying real ownership at the entity level. On the staying rich side, clean up governance. One decision maker with clear mandate is worth more than a fragmented cap table and family drama. Then take partial liquidity at great prices instead of gambling on a full exit. It's okay to sell 5 to 10% when conditions are perfect. Stay inside your circle of competence when you diversify. The Yorks didn't go chase crypto or SPACs. They just bought more sports teams, what they knew. The people who get rich once are often optimizing for the biggest possible payday. The people who stay rich are optimizing for control, durability, and optionality. Jed York is firmly in that second camp. If you want more breakdowns of how sports owners quietly build and protect their generational wealth, hit subscribe, and I'll walk you through real playbooks behind the headlines.